Hello, hello. It's been a little while and I'm missing doing a video. I'm also missing my hematite ring. Oh, sacre bleu. Sacre bleu. Sacre. Sucralose. Just kidding. So no partition today because I feel like putting it up. So I've just tilted up the monitor and that's great. And I wanted a different background. Actually, I have another idea for doing something, but I've got to talk to the home fry and see if we can fix something up. But yeah, it's been, y'all, it's been a very powerful, transformative couple of weeks for moi. It's been really intense, actually, in a good way. Lots of transformation, I'm sure. And I was thinking about that too, like all this stuff that I've been dealing with in some of the past videos. It's like, bro, you got like Venus retrograde going on. You got another Mercury retro coming up. We had Samhain, full moons, new moons. Somebody's transiting something, conjunct something. I realize, like, in my human design chart, I've got, like, this active gate 41, which is, like, uber emotional and does and deal a lot with transit emotional energy. I'm so glad I learned about that recently. Just kind of like, I didn't like learn. I just kind of like touch base on it. I was like, haha, validation. It's okay to cry. Because like everything is making me cry. Like out of sadness, out of happiness, out of, frustration, out of excitement, like out of like, that's so beautiful. Like I am a releasing mofo. We can definitely say that. Okay, like I'm like kneeling on my chair and that doesn't feel very good. I might just have to stand up. But yeah, I mean, even I'm this creating your personal religion class is rocking my world. These classes that I'm involved with, listening to my body is rocking my world. It's just been one amazing thing after another. And then obviously the election, and then just being sensitive to the energy out in the world, And then it's like Thanksgiving has come in no time, and then I'm still debating on, I'm not debating. I'm pretty sure I made my decision about the Law of Attraction meetup. Just because I'm moving into a different direction, and being okay with that. But I don't know what direction that is, and that I am not okay with. Being reminded of patience and gratitude in and of itself, and my values and my beliefs, and how, well, again, back to like how loyal are you gonna stand to those? Sort of like just the idea of if I really believe that things must take time to formulate. I don't know, because I don't know if I necessarily believe that they must take time, but I do think that the universe, everything with human design is like the universe has its plan, and we are here functioning, not so much trying to control our bodies per se, but acknowledging that they're doing their thing within the plan. They're serving a purpose. They're part of the mechanics, and we get to observe that and notice that and feel that and look at it through our lens. And it's all divine. It's all divine timing. So if that's the case, then really, I cannot continue to be getting upset with the concept of patience. Like I'll be like I've said it in these videos. I'll say it in Choo Choo Life to people like, patience. Oh, if I hear patience one more time, but being grateful, like that means things are happening. You're noticing and just kind of stepping back and being in that state of appreciation and love and trust and faith and knowing and all that good stuff, and getting out of my own head about it. Like InterPlay, they talk about easy focus, right? I've said that before. You get all your stuff up here and then whoosh. That's what they say, whoosh. It's so easy to get mental. So easy. Like I was even talking, and it's really fascinating. I'm teaching a meditation 101 class, and I love it. It's a 6-week course, and certainly not like I'm some meditation guru, but I follow a pattern. Well, I created a pattern where I go from Eastern to Western traditions over the course of the 6 weeks, and I teach a lot of different modalities and methods that I've learned along my journey, while really encouraging people to kind of get out of their own head about how meditation's supposed to be, how you have to breathe, what needs to be done, and basically like, look, there's multiple ways that it can be done. Find a way that it works for you, because it's really about noticing what's going on. All of these things, at least that I love, InterPlay, meditation, human design, they all have to do with this aspect of noticing and witnessing and being able to recognize that I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am this entity that is bigger, connected to the cosmos, as are you, all of us. When I say I am collective I, right? Like you, we, me, all that jazz. So getting out of that and being like, this us is bigger than that, and it gets to like observe all of this stuff going on and gets to be like kind of jazz about it, not get so caught up and realizing, oh, okay, well, this is what makes Leslie upset, or oh, okay, this is what makes Leslie a little emotional, or ooh, I can't believe Leslie just did that again. And kind of makes the whole talking in third person is kind of fun. Oh my goodness, I'm just gonna move this chair because it's annoying. My knees are hurting. So okay, well, that works. I don't know why I just didn't do that earlier. Yeah. So I feel like I have so much stuff that I can talk about right now. So much stuff. And, I don't want to get caught in another crazy long video. I don't even know why I'm saying that. Be long. This one's probably not going to be that long. Who knows, though? I don't know. I don't have a plan with this. But, if I were to go into the majority of all the stuff going on up here, it could potentially get really super duper duper long. However, I'm going to utilize a tactic from InterPlay. Now, in InterPlay, let me just say, I pulled it up here, it's on the website, is an active, creative way to unlock the wisdom of the body. So I'm sure you can understand why I appreciate that, being that I'm, into meditation, being that I'm into human design, tapping into the body. Plus, I originally got into it because it was like the one that I go to normally is called Spirit Play, where they incorporate InterPlay, a little bit of meditation, and poetry. So right up my alley, and I was just like, what? And we adults get together and we play, and whoosh, throw paint on the wall, fun stuff. I'm like, I'll be doing this by myself at home anyway. So I like InterPlay a great deal. I'm trying to see, it's much more intense than that, intense but simple, like everything. But you can go to interplay.org if you are so inclined and interested. But there is a technique there where we do I can talk about. And, you're sitting with a partner, and you don't go into the things that you could talk about. You just kind of do like a headline. Just, your clickbait, I guess. So like, I could talk about, well, actually, I'm about to do it, so there's no real need to give an example, because the rest of this video will be my example. Normally, you do it with another person, but, I'm going to do it with all you and myself. So I could even do, I always think of the banana, from, Family Guy. There you go. Where you at? Now, there you go. Anyways, so yeah, I'm going to do that for the rest of this video. And, here we go. I can talk about how amazing the show Umoja was 2 Sundays ago. I could talk about how I found it actually to be, how interesting I found it compared to going to see Shen Yun and then going to see Umoja. And Umoja, spirit of togetherness. I can talk about how I know I have African ancestry. There is something about some drums and music that just moves me in my cells. I can talk about how that felt. I can talk about how I cannot seem to shake seeing what I believe to be spiritual charlatanism. I can talk about how people like Nature Boy and people I know use good words of consciousness to basically try to trick people. And I could talk about how that hurts my soul. I could also talk about how I argue with myself and also have struggle with some shame on that judgment, because everybody's on their path, and I don't know who they might be helping on their journey, or knowing that they're on their journey. I can talk about my probably highly unpopular views on the political system and the voting. I can talk about why I stayed quiet, though I have a lot to say on that matter. I can talk about how I feel there's so much trickery to our faces. Not just politically, just kind of all over. From archons to television to our food. I can talk about how there seems to be a lot of inauthenticity. I can talk about how there seems to be a lot of hurt, and people are masking that with anger and promoting fears. It's kind of disturbing and hurts my heart. I can talk about how much I love coffee. Oh my gosh, delicious. I love it. I love this stuff. I can talk about how delicious the Ready Whip. They have an almond milk whipped cream, canister of whipped cream. And yeah, and I do this because that's what I use a can of whipped cream for. I don't know about you. I can also talk about how I think you have to be really tricky with figuring out how to get the last drop out of that sucker. It seems like it stops halfway from the spring, and then you're all out of the nitric oxide or whatever, and then it's just, you can hear it shaking. Like, you got me, because that's a couple dollars more than the regular dairy kind. I can talk about how it's probably pretty hilarious, because, I know my ancestors are like, oh, you trying to pretend you vegan with all that I don't do soy milk, but almond milk. But you still like that cheese, though. You still like that cheese. Yeah, I'm working on it. I can talk about how I was not prepared for the InterPlay event, Sankofa, a weekend of events towards embodied racial healing and justice. This Sankofa community is embracing yesterday, creating tomorrow. I could talk about how I was not ready for that healing. I could talk about how I didn't really realize the extent of disillusionment or lost I feel in not knowing my identity. I can talk about the sadness I feel from feeling like I have a lot of family, but not knowing anything really about my ancestors. I can talk about how it was slightly awkward to be in a very intense racial dialogue with whites, with people of color, and being one of, if not, the only biracial person, and adopted at that, and dealing with things of feelings and awarenesses of not knowing about my DNA, not even relating to my name. I can talk about, at the heart of it, how I still feel strong connection to joy and the unitedness of us all. I can talk about the validation of coming across so many people, like in my social media randomly, who write a lot and use a lot of words and made me feel right at home. Like, just when I was thinking, nobody wants to listen or do that, like, there are people out there doing that. And that's okay. Like, it's not for everybody, but it resonated with me. And I can talk about the seeming synchronicities that have seemed to happen as well. Like, the minute I say something or I'm getting frustrated about something, Mother, Father, God has something to respond to, like, well, it's not quite that way. Or, well, have you looked at it this way? You're not alone. I could totally talk about that. I can talk about letting go things that are no longer serving me. Not only the need to, but the forced invitations to. I can talk about how they're timely. I can talk about noticing the cyclical nature of seasons. Always look a little different, but it'll always be the same until you learn. I can talk about fears, about needing to step up and make changes. I can talk about acknowledging that I do a lot of lip service sometimes. I can talk about the attachment to the law of attraction group and people. And I can also talk about the need to recognize that I don't own anything. I can talk about, as we let go of things, space opens up and things automatically take their place. How curious that is. I can talk about the power of prayer. I can talk about the power of intimacy with self and the importance of loyalty to self and self-ideals in the higher nature for me. I can talk about how environment is very important to me. And I realize how I've been stifling aspects of myself in that regard. I can talk about how much music means to me. I can talk about the greatest laugh I had. I don't know where it is right now, but this microphone, I had another video. I was singing into it this way with the lights up because I like the lights. But the microphone part is actually here on the opposite end. That's hilarious. I could talk about how I had a grand time playing karaoke by myself once I realized that for like hours last week. I was like, what? Oh, so much joy. I can talk about wishing I were better at keeping in touch with people, being better about, starting groups and then finishing them. I can talk about the sickness in my stomach when I see someone being such a poser. I can talk about how fast magic seems to work. I can talk about how crazy that spiritual bath was the other night and everything that led up to it and then the things that happened afterwards. Like, what? I can talk about how I'm getting this close to lucid dreaming. Oh, all the signs are there. If I could just wake up. I can talk about patience being a practice and not a state of attainment. I can talk about moving, getting a job, like a legit another job. I can talk about the excitement of all that sort of stuff. I can talk about how much it sucks when it's cold, but hey, who doesn't like sweater weather? I can talk about about a lot more things, but I think those are all the things that I really want to talk about, how I could talk about right now. I'm sure some of these things will definitely, not I'm sure, and yeah, absolutely will come up again. Yeah, that politic thing is definitely going to come up again, the voting. Oh boy, I can talk about how I'm kind of nervous about doing that because I'm worried what people might think. But I know what I feel in my heart, and I know I have some important things to say that would at least start a dialogue, which is important to have. But I could talk about all of these things, but not right now. Not today.